Welcome back to the channel, folks, and thank you for being here. We are in DCS World today, possibly the best combat flight simulator on the planet. Well, it is, let's face it, it is the best on the planet. And in this video, I'm going to give you my impressions and thoughts using the Dream Air in this spectacular sim. First of all, as you can see here, we are on the deck of the one and only USS Roosevelt. We're going to cold start the F18 Hornet. I've been learning this aircraft once again for the last few weeks now. Very, very rewarding, I must say. And the first thing I want to mention as I'm looking around the console here, getting the APU up and running, is the tracking. Because this is Lighthouse, I don't have any issues with tracking whatsoever. In comparison, I've noticed recently that when looking down at the consoles, with the Pimax Crystal OLED, with the inside-out tracking, it tends to jitter around. But with the Dream Air, using base stations, you can see here I'm now switching to the left engine. It's just solid, absolutely solid. Now in this video, I'm going to showcase some through-the-lens footage as well. In fact, I'll show you some of it now of the F18 Hornet. Look at this. This is just using a phone camera. That's it, folks. Nothing fancy, nothing special, and to be honest, I'm actually not very good at through-the-lens footage, so bear that in mind when you see this incredible crisp and clear display of those 4K Sony Micro OLED panels, because they are absolutely friggin' beautiful. I'll show you a bit more through the lens a bit later on, but we're closing the canopy here, and it's now time for our bit test. We can check that outside as well. This is the computer making sure that all the fly-by-wire systems are working correctly, such as the leading edge, trailing edge, ailerons, the twin rudders and stabilators, or tailerons, are all working perfectly. We've got a very nice shot here of the Roosevelt and just showcasing the smoothness as well, because I am running this using quad views, but very slight amount, because I have noticed, annoyingly, it really affects the image on the display, what you're looking at. It's not so bad for me, because wherever I look with my eyes works perfectly. It's the sharp image, you know, because this headset has fantastic WWII tracking, must be said. Again, showcasing that I'm looking down, perfect tracking there. I'm now just basically aligning the nav systems, and we are ready to go now, folks. But yeah, the quad view system in DCS World means I can get 72 frames per second on the button, even using the super carrier module, and that's what we're showing here today at the moment. This is an amazing module. It's been out for a long time now, and actually a dear subscriber of mine gifted this to me many years ago, so thank you so much for that. And we're just going to line up, and this is a great showcase of how detailed DCS actually is. The guy there in front of me has just told me to lower my launch bar. That's this little guy here. I think it's called a launch bar. Sorry if some of the terminology is wrong, because I'm still learning this again. Because I used to do this all the time, actually. In fact, I used to love doing carrier operations in my motion rig. I must show you that very soon with the WWII H4. Anyway, let's crack on, and I'll show you the detail here as we spool the aircraft up to get connected up here. Look at this. Bit more, just a bit more. There we go. Just immense details. DCS, well, nothing comes close, let's be honest. So, making sure takeoff trim is selected. There's my wingman just firing off into the distance there. I've still got a notification actually on my DDI that my trim is not set. I'm not quite sure what that is. Might be a bug, might be me. Do something wrong. In any case, quick, get that gear up, because we'll soon surpass the 250 knot limitation. Listen to this. Oh yeah, baby. That's the F18 doing the F18 thing. Haha, yeah. Oh, it never gets old. Never gets old. And you know what, folks? I've just bought my tickets for RAF Fairford, the Royal International Air Tattoo. I can't wait to be there again. And I go every year. Really looking forward to that. And funny enough, the first aircraft that's been announced for the display this year is a Finnish Air Force F18. On a side note, you probably don't realise that the Finnish Air Force train their pilots with the Varia XR4. You know what though? It's got to be said, it doesn't look quite as nice as the Dream Air in terms of its actual display. Even though admittedly, it does not have immense pass-through like the VAR XR4. Which, for pilot training, real pilot training, is still the absolute daddy of all XR headsets. So, making sure those labels are off. Can't beat those flyby views. Absolutely stunning stuff. It's crazy to think actually how old the F18 module is now, but it's still one of the best in DCS. Here we go then for our carrier break. 350 knots, hard pull. Setting ourselves up for our first carrier landing in a long time. And I will say it is challenging to land this on the carrier, even on a very nice calm day like today. You can see here I am moving my head around a lot looking for the Roosevelt, and this is where the Dream Air really comes into its own with the small form factor. It just stays put, and I'm glad to say it's now comfortable because of my mod, which I've made a video about, using a Studio Form foam from a Big Screen Beyond. And with this Apache strap as well, it is all day comfortable now. Thankfully, Studio Form now has this for sale as a modder's kit for the Dream Air, and I have a nice discount for you as well. So if you are lucky enough to have the Dream Air early, but you're finding the comfort to be subpar, I would recommend this mod. It works really well and increases the field of view as well. Anyway, it's now time to hold your breath because we're going to go for our very first carrier landing in a long time. Meatball, angle of attack, line up. Can we do it? Oh my god. Oh, that was actually quite hard there on the nose gear. But we managed to do it and get away with it without any warnings. The aircraft's still intact. Right then, in the great words of Monty Python, now for something completely different. We're in a Spitfire attacking this airfield full of Focke-Wulf 190s, which are the formidable enemy really of the Spitfire and very hard to shoot down. Can we get one before it takes off? Oh, look at that. Visual eye candy all over the place. This sim is beautiful. And listen to that Merlin power Spitfire. I've said this many times, but I think the Spitfire in DCS is the best sounding warbird in any sim. And that sounds just like listening to them at the air shows. It really does. So this is, again, when looking around and making sure your head's on a swivel, the Dream Air is the perfect headset for DCS. And I'm going to say it, folks, I actually think this is the best VR headset out there for this type of experience. When you really need that lack of inertia, that light form factor when dogfighting, it's this. Together with the 4K Micro OLED panels, it's a feast for the eyes. We're now in a bit of a dogfight scenario here, very low to the ground. I will say one limitation of the Dream Air is the vertical field of view, which is only around 89. So when you are looking like I am now, you don't quite see as much as you would in, say, the 50 ppd QLED display. So field of view is definitely a limiting factor, but everything else is so much better for me, I can forego that. Now this is a really lucky shot. From the outside view, straight into the pilot. I absolutely couldn't believe it. Look at that, straight down, and good night. No bailout this time. Now it's time to see if we can strafe some of the aircraft from the airfield. Now I couldn't remember how to weapons release the bombs, so I just went for all that guns. And I must admit it was very satisfying. So satisfying. So here, a little bit more through the lens footage of the Apache. You can see here, look at those dials and gauges. Again, that's through the lens footage. It's unbelievable because these 4K Micro OLED displays are absolutely, without any question, the best VR visuals you can get. I've got more through lens footage in my full review of the Pimax Dream Air, which I also include lots of negatives, so make sure you watch that video before ordering. Link in the notes below. But really the major issues I've found are that the link box is annoying at the back of your head. and also it gets hot. And the comfort is not quite there, but it is now with my new mod. So once those things get sorted, which they will, this is probably going to be the best headset for 2026 easily. I hope you've enjoyed watching these two different scenarios here today. The thing about DCS is you can have so many different experiences, and the aircraft are such high fidelity. The flight models are on point, the sounds, the environment, and actually the VR optimizations of the sim now are very, very good as well. So that's it, folks, for today. This has been DCS World in the Dream Air. It is absolutely phenomenal. I do have a discount for the Dream Air in the notes below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.